It's Mike Rhyner here, and I want to thank you for joining us on Patreon.com. And I do hope that you will check out the Sunset Lounge, because there you can find a vast array of very, very entertaining and engaging podcasts, such as Shippy and Grooves. It is sports, it is topical, it highlights the stories most people probably haven't heard, and they put their own fun twist on things, always guaranteed to make you laugh. Shippy and Grooves at the Sunset Lounge.
Nobody would have thought that I would be the one. Rhyner, sports talk. Baseball, 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 baseball.
Oh, with the big mic. Oh, okay. All right, yeah. Okay, now I get it.
Isn't that a lightning strike, boys? What happened over there, Grego? We had a little lightning strike right outside the window.
All right. Here's a tip for all these Americano League teams.
Wait, you said tip?
Yeah, tip.
Okay.
With a P.
Keep jamming.
The ticket, colon, nothing but a big Gen X jerk-off sake.
This is a cool night or what?
Although somebody would hear that and go, bullshit.
I'm back, bitches.
Well. Good day to you all. Look what it is. Look where it is. Look who it is. It's us. It's Little Your Dark Companion. We are out in the wild today. And when I say in the wild, I mean the big wild, because you can't get too much wilder than Riders Field. That's where we are today. Now, I've got to tell everybody that I came in here thinking that this was still the Dr. Pepper 7-Up ballpark, which it was like its first 2 or 3 years, and then it's had a number of names since, but we got it all cleared up, so I did not make that mistake. And I feel like I'm off to a pretty good start here. I'm Mike Rhyner, and look who we've got with us today. Look at this rogues gallery that we've got. We got Kevin Mench over there. You heard him on Your Dark Companion just a couple of days ago. And now, here is Chuck Greenberg, the owner of the Frisco Rough Riders. Hi, boys.
That's what it says on my ID.
This is by far a beautiful ballpark. I mean, the ones that we played in growing up and are coming through the minor leagues, you couldn't see. I mean, people complained about lights and everything. I mean, these places are like major league ballparks, Chuck.
Yeah,
this is
great.
done. I rehabbed here the first year in 03 and 04. Beautiful setup. I mean, it was amazing when it was here. It was just a ballpark. There was nothing around it, not just dirt. And all of a sudden, this has become, it's almost, you could miss it if the lights aren't on. I mean, it's a beautiful setup, the way that Frisco has done this, and Chuck and the organization have done this. And a couple of championships, correct, Chuck, under your watch?
Yeah, one.
Have you been
But
in
it felt like two.
Yeah, true. You guys got, yeah. This is just a beautiful setup. I mean, we've got a great night tonight, nice and windy. I mean, this is the days I love to play in. All you got to do is hit it at this ballpark, and it's going to go.
You know, that's the first thing I noticed when I walk in here today, because as I believe I mentioned, I did Rough Riders radio some in that first year, and the very first thing I noticed that on game one here was the wind. The wind then is just like it is now, which for those familiar with the lay of the land up here, it is blowing what appears to be straight out to center field. And the flags, I wouldn't say they're stiff, but they're somewhat turgid, shall we say. But yeah, the wind's always been a big factor in this place.
Yeah, it's a good night to be a right-handed hitter.
Yeah, it is.
Get the ball in the air and have a little bit of fun. But it's such a beautiful park, Mench. You know, you were saying when this was originally built, and I saw it back in 2010, and it was a great park. It was starting to get a few years on it, and when we took over late in 14, we worked really closely with the city, and we've added so much to it, and it just gets better every year. And of course, the lazy river everyone talks about, and rightfully so. But you know, we got the biggest video board in the major leagues. We got a sound system you could have concerts at. We got bars and saloons and
I mean the whole area up here.
I mean, it's just like a giant playground.
The whole area up here is just blown up.
I mean, when I was here in 10, other than the arena and the Embassy Suites, there was nothing else here.
No,
and
there
now
wasn't.
it's part, as you said, Mench, it's part of a neighborhood with the Emily apartments all around us, and the offices and the Drury Hotel, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great setting.
And we do so much as far, even after baseball. Like you talk about you're able to have concerts. We do the celebrity softball games, baseball games that are here, and it, you know what I mean. Just with with the mall and all the shopping and the restaurants and everything else. I mean, I think that's what it's become now. It's just become like a congregation place. People are able to do it. Like you said, it's year round now. They weren't when we were growing up. A lot of these places weren't year round venues. It was baseball season and just sat. When you took over as an owner, was that one of the big things you look at when you do purchase a team to see what other options besides your 6 months of baseball?
Yeah, I mean, there were always some interesting events here. The Dirk Heroes game was always a great success, but generally speaking, that wasn't something that our predecessor focused on, and we made it a priority, particularly once COVID came about, because we had 21 months where we had no baseball.
Yeah.
But we did have expenses, which I wasn't an economics
those didn't
major,
stop,
but
did they?
That's not a great business model, is it, Mike?
I don't think. I think it's not. I'm not a economics genius either, but I don't think it is.
Never took an accounting class, but I don't think expenses with no revenues is ideal. So we really, at that point, that's when we really doubled down on the effort to host a lot more events, and we're really proud of it because it's not just from the, obviously it's appealing to us to host a lot of events, but in terms of being an asset to the community, I mean, we host all sorts of ethnic pride nights, and we had a Muslim prayer service on the last day of Ramadan, and we've got Filipino pride night. We have an Indian food bazaar and concerts. We had an international boxing match here 2 summers ago, corporate meetings, you name it. And then to go along with the old school stuff like the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts sleeping out in the field, which is always one of my favorite visuals of the year. So, this park's 360 days a year. We try to make it as bustling as can be, and it's all a lot of fun.
Now, Kevin, take us through your minor league path on your way to the major leagues.
Gosh, first year of pro ball, Pulaski, Virginia. Anybody,
yeah.
You know where that is, Chuck?
I've driven past Pulaski quickly.
Pulaski's off Highway 81. It's about 20 miles south of Virginia Tech. And it's about 5 hours from where I grew up in Delaware. Appy League, I mean, you play in, Danville, Johnson City, Kingsport, Elizabethtown, Princeton, West Virginia, Bluefield, West Virginia. I mean, you are in mountain towns.
And some really great baseball towns.
Yes,
I mean, it's a great little league.
It is. I mean, it's perfect. The way it's set up. I know one of my brother's teammates back in the mid-'80s got drafted by the Cubs and was in Withville, which was just south of Pulaski. I mean, so all those small towns, which are probably obsolete now with all since COVID and everything else, taking a lot of those away.
But the Appy League's still around. I'm not sure where exactly all the teams are, but it's still a really nice little circuit.
It was fun, you're coming out of college, you don't know what you're in the mountains, just growing up around there. And then I missed the Sally League, which was good. I was talking to Chuck earlier about the Sally League, which you would ride buses from Columbus, Georgia to Lakewood, New Jersey. So I missed it. I was only in
That's a hike.
Augusta and Savannah. I was in Augusta and Columbus just for a week. I caught it and then bypassed Loway and was right to the Florida State League, which is, I think, by far the best league in professional baseball. Florida State, your longest trip is 3 hours, and that was to Baseball City, or you go over to Dodgertown, which where they were, or you're over in Daytona, everything else. But you're on the beach, and where we were in Port Charlotte, half of our games are spent. And you're 22 years old. You're in Tampa, right? I mean, what else could be? I mean, and it rains every day at 4 o'clock.
I was going to say, you love those late afternoon rainstorms.
Yes, exactly. 4 o'clock, no batting practice.
If you like rain and low attendance, that's the spot for you.
But you're playing on big league parks, and the clubhouses were massive. I mean, you could hold your own little football game because they're major league clubhouse you were in. It was the best travel by far, and it was so fun. You'd sleep all day, and then, like I said, get rained out, you'd miss it, go hit in big league batting cages, which were probably 8 or 9 deep. I mean, so you had just free reign anything. And then 01 was in Texas League, but and I think that was the year that Frisco bought the Shreveport franchise and then moved them here, and then they started in 03 because 01 was the last year of Shreveport, which is Wow. I mean, talk about a hot, humid, muggy place to play. We went there for a 6-game
God, I can
series
only
to
imagine.
start. And it was awful. And then I think they had bought them and moved them here. And then 02, I spent a day in AAA and got called up and rehabbed here in Frisco in 03 and 04. And that was it. So, yeah, you see some Chuck's been around it and seen some of those towns. I mean, it's better off. You're better off with headlights than you were with the lights on the field. You couldn't see a thing. So if you could hit in the minor leagues, you could hit in these are like cathedrals. I mean, it's like hitting in broad daylight, especially now the way they're set up. And I think once you got, in Florida State League, you're at big league ballparks, so they're nicer. But some of those A-ball stadiums, then you get to some AA stadiums, you just can't. And then AAA, some of them, they just didn't care. I mean,
and AA, particularly back in the day, that was a manly step up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could be cruising along at 20, 21, 22. You get to AA, you're facing guys who were in the big leagues.
Right.
You got 28-year-old guys who can hit their spots, with a wide variety of pitches. It's a big step up.
Is it still that way now? AA is really where your guys go from AA to the big leagues. Is it still that way?
The whole development system is a little more compressed than it was, but it's still a big jump from high A to AA. I've never seen anyone who hit the ground running offensively in AA who didn't have some success at the big leagues. If you could conquer that on your first shot, the odds are in your favor.
Where does AAA fit in these days?
It's kind of like your taxi squad, your guys, your gosh, it's hard to explain how it is. I mean, you've got some guys that have big league experience, but there are some guys, we call them 4A guys, guys that just mash in AAA, right? But they could not hit in the big leagues. Yeah. Who's the guy, minor league home run leader, played with the Tigers forever?
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Mike Henneman?
Yes, Mike Hessman. Mike
Hessman, yeah.
He was the Crash Davis. Dude hit, I don't know, 400 home runs in minor league baseball or something stupid.
He played for Erie against Altoona back when had Altoona 20-some years ago, and it was like Paul Bunyan.
Yeah, he could hit it a mile, but the big leagues just could not. So your AAA is just your guys that are like your taxi squad guys. And granted, if you have guys that have dominated AA that are prospects, but there's nowhere for them in the big leagues, they'll put them in AAA because you have those veteran guys they can actually face and get a little bit. But most of the time, you're going right from AA to the big leagues.
All right, now I want to ask you a question that I think I know the answer to, but I want to hear it from you. What is so different about the major leagues and AAA?
What separates the big leagues from any other level is what's between the ears. It's all mental. The guys because the way the game moves, and now with social media, the way scouts and everything are, right? They'll have, you know how it is, Chuck's seen it, how they have it done. They know scouting reports are sent right in, that everything is done. Yeah. It's all between your ears. It's the ability to be able to forget and move on. Because what you're doing, I mean, you go out, you strike out or have an error, all of a sudden, right, you've let the other 8 guys down. Now all of a sudden, now you're at the plate, you're doing it. Now all of a sudden, now it gets in your head. But that's what separates. It's not ability. Yes, the game is faster, but it's just like anything else. It's just like being in high school, freshman, and then you get to JV and then varsity. The speed of the game changes, but that's able to adapt. What you have between your ears is completely different.
Is major league pitching and AAA pitching really that different?
I mean, now, I don't think there's really any difference. Guys just throw the ball as hard as they can. Guys don't pitch anymore, right? I mean, that's the hardest part. Nobody cares how hard you threw ball 4. I hit 99 today. That's great, but where was it?
Yeah, did you get it over?
Exactly, and that's why you're seeing. I mean, when I was let's take when you were growing up. Denny McClain was the last guy to win 30 games, correct?
Yeah,
31. 31 and 8.
Okay, so 30 was kind of the gold standard. When I was playing, 20, 25 was kind of the standard. Now what is it? 10, maybe 15. So the pitching and everything else, guys aren't throwing harder. They've changed the way you look at things and see. We've talked about this, I think, the other day, Mike. Yeah. As far as they've put a Nolan Ryan fastball up to that guy of the Cardinals, whoever's throwing 106 apparently, and Nolan's fastball, if it looks like okay, so Nolan's throwing 109. So no, it's just guys don't know, but guys don't pitch anymore. They just throw it as hard as they can. I mean, I haven't seen some minor league ball. I don't know if Chuck, you've been around it and seen the way the rules are with the pitch clock and everything else. Are guys still trying to pitch? Or are they just trying to throw it?
Well, first of all, I think all the rule changes a couple years ago that I think are a huge success. It got the tempo of the game back to the way it was played when I was growing up. it's not artificial. Like I mean, I'm sort of a purist, but actually, I think it gets the game, back to a more pure version. There's less dead time.
I think that is the best thing baseball's done in many years.
Terrific. And well, that's okay. Yeah, wait, we're older than you. We're the ones that are supposed to say get off my lawn. But I love it. I'm not a big fan of the ghost runner, but I understand from a standpoint of saving arms, particularly in the minors. I get it. I don't love it, but I get it. But I think the pitch clock's the greatest thing that's happened. And like after the first 2 weeks, no one even talked about it anymore because the players adapted. They just get into a natural rhythm. It has not led to a loss of control. It's a better product. Ending the shift and a lot of other moves they did have added more athleticism back into the game, which is clearly what the fans wanted to see. And I just think it's a better product.
That's removed some strategy from the game, though. A lot of people don't like that.
Yeah, but I think what if I have a choice between seeing an athletic player making an athletic play or seeing that someone had a better scouting report, I'd rather see the athlete make a play.
I'm right there with you. I'm just saying that's something that you hear,
All right, hold on. Did you just call a baseball player an athlete? We are not athletes.
You're not.
You know that. You know damn well we are not athletes. We are just –
You're baseball players.
Exactly. And, yeah, for trying to do athletic things. I mean, baseball is just – it's always been – just go out and have fun, right? You don't have to be athletic. You just have that.
Yeah, but okay. The 1980 era, the Cardinals of the 80s, right? Turf field, hard as concrete, built for that. And those guys, I mean, they were athletes. They could run. I was trying to compliment you, Menchie. I'm trying to throw you a little bone here, man.
I was built for comfort, though, Chuck.
Okay, I understand. Okay. Role player.
Yes,
I got it. Okay. But as far as the pitching, I do think the guys throw harder. I think the movements, just nasty. But the lack of command is definitely an issue. So I had my first AA team in 2002. And the number of guys who throw, exceptionally hard now is completely different than it was then. I mean, even by the eye test. I mean, back then there were maybe half a dozen guys in the whole Eastern League who threw 97 or higher. Now there's 3 or 4 guys in every bullpen.
Yeah.
And even if there's a little bit of a difference in measurement, there's no doubt that, in my mind at least, and I could be wrong, that there's more guys throwing at higher velocity and just the spin rate, the movement. It's harder to hit than ever. I do believe.
When you were standing up at the plate, did you ever see the sweeper?
What the hell is that? That's the sweeper. Isn't that what they clean the streets with?
That's what I always thought.
That's what I'm saying.
Now I hear that it's something else.
But that's all everybody wants. This whole generation.
I haven't felt this young in years, Mike. I feel like we're the kids, and the old man here is just in a bad mood.
You're pissing in my cornflakes.
It's a good day for us, man.
Seriously, man, I'm ready for the weekend now.
The sweeper, they would call that the frisbee. We would call that like Jeff Nelson type of thing, where he would throw that thing, and it would just start behind you, and the frisbee. But look at what the game has become about. It's become teams are losing by a couple of touchdowns. We have position players pitching on opening day. It's opening day, and you're already having position. What has the game become? Right? I mean, right, the rosters are expanded now to 26, 27, 28. I don't even know what it is.
Somewhere around there.
27.
No, it's not 30.
But so now you can have more pitchers. But really, I mean, the first day you've got position players. If I'm paying tickets, I don't want to see a position player pitch. I want to see somebody and it's made a mockery of what the game of what we grew up with.
But if I'm a manager and I'm getting my ass beat, you bet your ass I'm running a position player out there if I've got one.
But it seems like it's every day.
Yeah,
every day it's one.
I know.
I mean, remember, was it Scott Shelton was the last one here in Texas to play every position in one game? I think is what it was, right? He did everything. I think that's what it was, if I'm correct.
I think so.
Scott Shelton.
Personally, I think the game's really rebounded the last few years. I really do. I think it's a better game now than it's been in a long time. Somewhere around 2000, and it started with the Red Sox, then it went to the Yankees, and it went everywhere. Just all the stepping out of the box and adjusting yourself and going out to gather yourself before every pitch. Just throw the ball. I mean, 1960 World Series. So I'm a Pittsburgh guy. I was born in '61, so I had an obstructed seat because I was in the womb for the '60 World Series. But Game 7, classic game, 10-9, 19 runs. There's 25, 30 hits or something like that. The most amazing stat is that game, a 19-run Game 7. Was played in 2 hours and 36 minutes, and no one thought it was rushed. I mean, it's just the pitcher got the ball on the rubber, go. I mean, Bob Gibson, Bob Veal, those guys, they were ready to go.
Boy, such an incredible game that was too. I mean, sometimes probably
Mazeroski, wasn't it?
Yeah.
23 years old.
Do you know who was on deck?
Roberto.
No.
No? Who?
It was Willie. Or not Willie. It was
Willie wasn't around yet.
Wait, timeout. Yeah, it was 6-6. It was right. It was Bill Mazeroski's hit that night.
Yeah, he hit way down in the order most of the time.
It was not. It wasn't Roberto.
It was
actually. You know what might be the most forgotten home run in baseball history from that game? Hal Smith hit a 3-run homer to go up 9-7.
Right.
Now
Hal
you're
Smith-
showing your age. Go ahead, Mike.
Hal Smith would be a legend.
Hey, I don't
and
care.
And then the Yankees
Everybody
came back
knows.
and tied it. But I did. By the way, I had a great time one night in Altoona. Ralph Terry, who threw that pitch, came, and he told a story. It's too long, and I won't bore your followers with this. But afterwards, I'll
They
tell you
don't
about it.
care. If I'm game, they're game.
He's over in England, and he's playing golf with this Englishman whose accent I won't try to imitate. And they're playing, and after every hole on the next tee, you'd have a shot of port.
I always heard he was a really good golfer, too, Ralph Terry.
Yeah, and a terrific guy, too.
That's like a starting pitcher staple.
Of course. So so anyhow, this guy says, so I understand you played a bit of American Rounders as a lad. And he thinks the guy's messing with him, And he says, I've only been to one game. It was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And he thinks, is this guy messing with him? He goes, it was in the fall of 1960. And he's thinking, this son of a gun, I'm going to take him out. He goes, it was the 7th game of what I believe you call your World Series. And he's thinking, this guy's going down. I'm getting after this guy.
Man.
And he says, we were guests of the chairman of the United States Steel Corporation. We had a lovely round of golf at Oakmont Golf Club. And afterwards, he said, I'm going to take you one of the great spectacles of American society, the 7th game of our World Series of baseball. And, Ralph Terry, he says, I'm like on the tee. I'm like ready to go after him with my driver, And the guy says, the game, it was quite a match. It went back and forth. And then in the bottom of the final frame, some lad bowled the ball up there, and some other chap took a mighty swing. The ball disappeared. Sheer pandemonium ensued. We were lucky to escape with our lives. And Ralph Terry thought, this guy has no idea who I am. And he goes, that chap who bowled it up there? He goes, yeah. He goes, that was me. And the guy pauses. He goes, more port.
Definitely more port.
I just think that baseball now has become about, like you talk about, what would be the thing? It'd be the launch angle and the exit velocity, that kind of stuff. That's the stuff that irks me, I think, more than anything.
I will say this. It's interesting, but I'd rather hear that a guy went 3 for 4 than he hit 2 balls 110 miles an hour.
Exactly.
I'm with you on that. And for what it's worth, I miss being able to focus on wins, ERA, and batting average, homers, and RBI.
You're triple crown for baseball, for pitchers.
I do miss that. But I totally understand why general managers build rosters the way they do and managers manage the way they do, because it leads to success. And so if you want the game played differently, you need to utilize the rules to encourage that. And I do think that's what Major League Baseball, to their credit, did a couple of years ago after testing it in the minors, and I like it.
They have all that.
You might like it again, too. It's still too fresh, man. It's still too fresh.
They have all that data, and if one guy sees a guy getting an edge on him because he uses data and the other guy doesn't use data, that guy's going to get on the stick and start using it.
That's right.
And if he doesn't, then he's probably going to get canned.
So here's my quote. My daughter brought this up to me today. She said one of her teachers brought up, hey, Dad, I heard you in Moneyball. I said, yeah, I've never seen it. But is that where this started, was with Moneyball? Billy Beane in this whole Moneyball situation?
Well, but it was kind of different, because back then I think it was about, okay, well, who's going to play? Let's look at data and see who's going to play. And now what's really interesting is it's really evolved into sports science, because now the data is about how to help guys get information to help them be better players. So it's like I think the common perception of where analytics fits in is pretty outdated, because now it's performance-oriented, which is prospective, instead of, like the retrospective of trying to see what have they done and so who should be in the lineup.
But does it lead to, like you talk about the way the game is played now, everything's launching and everything else, but I grew up a National League guy. I like the hit and runs, the bunts and everything else, but it seems like now all they're trying to do, everybody's trying to hit a home run. They showed a statistic. It talked about when I was playing, batting averages were like 270 now we're down in like the 230s. Has it gotten that bad because of this generation? They want to see the long ball, right? They want to see guys, but the problem is you can't hit an 8-run homer, and they're trying to do that kind of stuff. Granted, yes, last year's home run derby, for instance, was awful. I want to see guys. I want to see Sammy and Mark. I want to, like we do when we do the softball game. The dudes are hitting softballs up here into people's porches. That's fine. Go find the biggest dudes that can hit the ball a mile and because people will pay to see that. Great, I love it. Bobby Witt's great, but he's not a home run derby guy.
Yeah.
All I have to say is we played in a charity softball game together a number of years ago. I've never seen anyone hit a softball the way Mench hit a softball. I thought it was a Herman Munster ball that was like loaded with, because he hit it. I've never seen a softball disappear like that. I don't know if it landed.
That's when you have one speed, Chuck. It's just go. I just try and hit it. But I was always taught you hit it as hard as you can at somebody, and if you hurt them, that's just a part of it. But that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see with the home run derby. Guys that do that, just bring them in for it. That's what I want to see. Sammy hitting them, the old Milwaukee, he was hitting them out of the stadium. That's what I want to see. That's what people, we always talk about this on shows that talk about the steroid era.
Yeah.
They should have a steroid part in the Hall of Fame. You know how many
steroid wing in the Hall of Fame?
Wing, they would be. The problem is, though, there are so many guys that I know of that have done it, they've never even caught and done.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. But the guys that were caught, here you go, here's your wing, because I guarantee you that would get more play than anything, because that's what people want to see.
Did you know a lot of guys who are doing it that we would never have even suspected? Because, back then when it started going around, everybody would look at guys and say, okay, that guy's doing it, that guy's doing it. And there were some, mostly, more smaller guys that we never even suspected.
There are guys you would think there's no way, but there were guys that I played with, come out, after the season, come back, and they couldn't move. They had their neck, and you're like, must have had a lot of protein for the winter. But no, I was, people have asked, and I've heard stories about guys in the '80s doing other things, not steroids, but other.
Yeah.
And the problem is, though, that we were never tested for that stuff. The PEDs, yes, that was just the thing. That was because, we knew you're going into the clubhouse. They would be on the door of the clubhouse walking in. Okay, you've got to go and go get here it is. Go get tested.
What were they doing? What do you think they were doing back then? Forms of amphetamine and stuff like that? Okay.
And I've heard
he just made a gesture.
Yes, yeah, yes. That's
maybe you saw it on the.
But that's what I've heard. The guys, which, who knows? I mean, I'm sure we'll never know. But it'll continue. I mean, there's guys getting busted now still, and in all sports. As long as you have people that have money, they're always going to find doctors trying to find ways to hide it.
Yeah.
But I don't. I was more concerned with people always. I've heard people ask me, where can you go? I'm like, no, this is not something that I'm around this stuff, but I'm sure people are would have ways to find it and do it. And I remember one guy, I won't say a name, we're in spring training in 2002 in Florida. I walk into the shower and one of the guys, on his left ass cheek had a welt. That big, and I said, what in the world? He goes, I missed. Giving himself the injection. It took up the whole cheek. That's how big it was. And I went, wow. But yeah, it was still prevalent. I mean, I'm sure it is now, but yeah. And, I remember, what was it, 03, the Mitchell report, right?
Yes.
And that came out. They said it was anonymous. That was not anonymous. It was a name that was attached. There was a name attached to each one. And then I think whoever brought it to Congress, right, when all those guys were in there, it was supposed to be, it was never anonymous. And that's the thing. So, I mean, but that's what people wanted to see, that, because dudes were hitting the baseball a mile. That's fun. I want to see that. I would much rather. Now they have these bats that look like the big red bats that we had growing. Remember those bats, Chuck?
I do.
Then the torpedo bats. That's what they look like now.
It bothered me because it changed the game, and all of a sudden I started seeing things that I'd never seen before in baseball, and I started seeing guys swing the bat and hit the ball, and it went a lot farther than it seemed like it was going to go. And that bothered me, but not enough to get me out of the game, not enough to make me quit watching, anything like that, I read a lot about it. I heard a lot about it. I heard a lot of rumors about it because I was just breaking into the game back then, and people were always talking about this guy's doing it. No, he's not doing it, but this guy is,
That's the problem. Who you think isn't doing it is, and who you think is doing it probably isn't.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is you still have to hit something sometimes that looks like it's the size of an aspirin.
Yeah.
Right, that's not
and it's
helping
coming
your
real
hand out.
fast.
Yes. Other times it does look like a beach ball, but for the most part, when it looks like an aspirin and sounds like a fried egg, Yeah, you still have to have the hand-eye coordination to do it. You know?
I mean, going back to what you were asking Mench about earlier about how hard it is at the different levels. I mean, the first thing I heard when I started being around the game was that baseball's hard. It's a really hard game, and no part of it is harder than hitting.
Yeah.
And, it's just it's a hard game played by human beings, and, so much of the game does go on between the ears. And, I mean, look at as a position player, you fail 7 out of 10 times, you go to Cooperstown.
That's the only sport you can.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
You think a kicker misses 7 out of 10 field goals, he's going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Only if there's a Costco in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can imagine. I mean, I've kicked field goals just to see, but it's probably a lot different when there's a 300-pound lineman coming at you and knowing that, okay, if I do swing and miss and this dude falls on my leg type of thing, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, a lot that gets in your head.
And going back to Chuck's point, as far as hitting a baseball, people talk about, well, hitting a golf ball. Listen, a golf ball is stationary. You're trying to hit a moving object that's coming at you.
Yeah.
We had when
golf ball's not going to hurt you.
No. When Mr. Hicks owned the Stars, they would come out spring training when we were in Arizona. They would come out when they were playing the Coyotes or something. So I had a good buddy of mine I grew up with, played with Nashville. Or no, I'm sorry. It was when the Stars came out. Steve Ott.
Yeah.
Otter's a great dude, loves a big fighter. He would not get in the box and take batting practice. He was afraid to get hit with a ball. I go, Otter, you'll stand in front of a net not knowing where a 95-mile-an-hour hockey puck's going to end up. Yet this guy can throw it in the clown's mouth, and you're scared? He goes, yeah. This is what I mean. It makes no sense. But just thinking about the mentality and how, hockey, you've been around hockey. Hockey players are a completely different breed altogether. I don't know what it is. But for him to say that, I just thought to myself, wow. I would much rather, because I had a buddy of mine, the guy took a puck to the face. I'm thinking, yeah, no. If I don't know where it's going, and I think that's what baseball probably feels like these days. Catcher sets up outside, he misses 3 feet in and ends up in your neck.
All I know
Crazy
is
game.
I wouldn't want to step in there these days.
No, I wouldn't either. They're throwing too hard, and it does too much.
They got full catcher's gear on.
Well, still, I think catching is the most difficult position in all of sports to play. And I get a lot of guff for this, because everybody says, okay, what about quarterback in football? And I tell them, all right, look, let's just take it from the mental standpoint. You've got to manage a pitching staff of 10 guys, all of whom are extremely different. And you've got to know right away when a game starts whether or not the guy out on the mound has anything that day. And if he doesn't, you got to go out there and tell him what you think might get him back on track. And you got to do that for a staff of 10 or 12 guys. And in addition to that, you've got to block the plate. If there's a play at the plate, you're probably going to wind up getting knocked on your ass, but you're expected to catch the ball, hold it, and get the guy out. You've got to control the running game. You got to be able to turn around, throw off a mask, and then locate a foul pop-up back there and see if you can get to it and then catch it. And you're expected to hit a little bit. Probably the offensive demand on catchers is not as great as it is on some other positions, but something's expected. And you've got to be able to do all of this from a very, very unnatural position.
Okay, so
that you have to be able to assume just as easy as you or I sit down.
Yeah. So baseball story in the yard, Mike. What was the name of the guy as a catcher who kind of invented modern equipment? And for bonus points, what did they refer to the equipment as? We'll be back next week with
we'll be back next week with the answer.
Roger Bresnahan, New York Giants.
That's right.
And they called him
Great Roger Bresnahan.
They called him the tools of ignorance.
Yes, the tools of ignorance. All right, we got to wrap this up, I'm being told. Boys, thank you very much. Kevin Mench, Chuck Greenberg with me here on Your Dog Companion today. We are out here at Riders Field. The Frisco Rough Riders are about to get the season underway. So come on out here and check out what they have got. It's always a good time out here at the ballpark. What? Oh, yeah, we'll still be hanging around. We're still going to circulate and stuff like that. So come see us. In the meantime, thank you, Ashley. We are out. Bye.
All right. I'm going to go take my pants off.
Your Dark Companion is a Stolen Water Media presentation.